In the mid-19th century, a new industry was born, the oil industry, raw, unrefined, and untapped. It was a world teeming with possibilities, yet fraught with challenges. Pioneers braved the elements, battling in the murky depths of the earth to extract the black gold that lay beneath. This was a wild frontier, a landscape of uncertainty and potential. Into this wild frontier stepped a man with a vision, a man named John D. Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller, a man of humble beginnings, saw potential in the chaos of the oil industry. Born into modest circumstances in 1839, Rockefeller's upbringing was marked by financial instability and hard work. Yet, it was these early struggles that instilled in him a relentless ambition and a knack for business. Young Rockefeller entered the workforce at the tender age of 16, finding his footing in the world of commerce. But it was the discovery of oil in Pennsylvania in 1859 that caught his entrepreneurial eye. Seeing an opportunity in the fledgling and chaotic oil industry, Rockefeller made his initial investments in oil refineries in the early 1860s. His early business strategies were marked by a focus on efficiency and cost-cutting measures, a sharp contrast to the wild speculation that characterized the industry at the time. Rockefeller's vision was not just to make a quick profit, but to bring order and stability to the oil industry, and so, in 1870 he founded the Standard Oil Company. Standard Oil was different. It was disciplined, it was methodical, and above all, it was efficient. Where others saw commodity, Rockefeller saw an industry that could be transformed through careful management and innovative practices. Under Rockefeller's leadership, Standard Oil began to streamline production and reduce wasteful practices, cutting costs and increasing profits. But Rockefeller's vision extended beyond the refinery. He saw the entire oil supply chain, from the well to the consumer, as a system that could be made more efficient. And so Standard Oil began to take control of not just oil refining, but also transportation, distribution, and even retail sales. In the hands of Rockefeller, Standard Oil was not just a company, it was a vision for the future of the oil industry. An industry that would be less about wild speculation and more about careful planning, strategic thinking, and ruthless efficiency. An industry that could fuel the growth of the United States and transform the country into a global industrial power. And so, Standard Oil was born, an entity poised to revolutionize the industry. As Standard Oil began to grow, so did its influence. The company was not content with simply participating in the oil industry, it aimed to control it. Standard Oil's rise to power was marked by a strategic blend of ruthless tactics and innovative thinking. The company was known for its aggressive approach to competition. It would undercut prices, negotiate rebates with railroads, and even built its own pipelines to keep transportation costs low. These tactics, while harsh, were undeniably effective. Smaller oil companies, unable to compete with Standard Oil's low prices and extensive infrastructure, were often forced to sell to the growing giant or risk bankruptcy. But it wasn't just ruthless tactics that fueled Standard Oil's rise. The company was also a pioneer in innovation and efficiency. It revolutionized the oil refining process, introducing new techniques that reduced waste and improved the quality of its products. This focus on efficiency extended to every aspect of the company's operations. From its refineries to its office buildings, every part of the Standard Oil machine was designed to minimize costs and maximize profits. These strategies paid off. By the late 19th century, Standard Oil controlled about 90% of the oil refining industry in the United States. It was a behemoth, its influence reaching into every corner of the nation's burgeoning industrial economy. The company's domination was so complete that it was often referred to as a trust, a term that would later be used to describe any large company that controlled its market as completely as Standard Oil controlled oil. Standard Oil had become the undisputed king of oil, a monopoly in all but name. But as the company grew, so did public resentment. The backlash against Standard Oil's dominance would eventually lead to one of the most significant legal battles in American history. But that's a story for another time. For now, let's just say that Standard Oil's rise to power was as controversial as it was impressive. But with great power comes great scrutiny. As Standard Oil's influence expanded, so did public concern. This period saw the rise of investigative journalism, a profession that would become instrumental in exposing the underbelly of the giant. Journalists, nicknamed muckrakers, began to dig into the operations of Standard Oil, unveiling the company's monopolistic practices to the world. One such muckraker, Ida Tarbell, took a personal interest in the case. Her father's oil business had been one of the many swallowed up by Standard Oil's ruthless expansion. Tarbell's investigations resulted in a 19-part exposé in McClure's magazine, laying bare the company's tactics for all to read. This public exposure stirred up widespread outrage and led to a greater call for government intervention. It was clear that the unchecked power of monopolies like Standard Oil could lead to abuses, stifling competition, and manipulating markets to their advantage. This public backlash was instrumental in prompting government action against monopolies, leading to the creation of antitrust laws. In 1910, the United States government took Standard Oil to court under the Sherman Antitrust Act, claiming that the company was operating an illegal monopoly. The case, United States vs. Standard Oil, was a landmark lawsuit that would forever change the landscape of American business. After a long and highly publicized trial, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the government in 1911. The court ordered the dissolution of Standard Oil, breaking it up into 34 separate companies. These included future industry giants like Exxon, Mobil, and Chevron. The breakup of Standard Oil marked a significant turning point in the history of the oil industry and American business as a whole. It was a clear demonstration of government power in regulating business, and it set a precedent for future antitrust cases. Standard Oil's reign had ended, but its impact was far from over. The Rockefeller legacy was far-reaching, with both positive and negative effects that are still felt today. The story of Standard Oil serves as a stark reminder of the power of monopolies and the importance of regulation in maintaining a fair and competitive market. The breakup of Standard Oil did not mark the end of its influence. Quite the opposite. The dissolution of this titan of industry gave birth to an array of major oil companies. Names like Chevron, Exxon, and Mobil are all progeny of the Standard Oil empire, and they continue to dominate the industry today. The oil fields, the pipelines, the refineries, a significant fraction of the infrastructure we rely on for our energy needs was built, directly or indirectly, by Standard Oil. But the enduring influence of Standard Oil is not merely physical. Its legacy is also etched in the laws and norms of business conduct. The aggressive tactics that Standard Oil employed sparked debates about the nature of competition and the role of regulation that continue to this day. The antitrust laws that were created in response to Standard Oil's monopoly still serve as the bedrock of market competition policy, shaping the business landscape far beyond the oil industry. And yet the question of how to balance the drive for efficiency and innovation with the need to prevent market domination remains as relevant as ever. In an era where tech giants are amassing power reminiscent of Standard Oil, the lessons from the past provide food for thought. As we look to the future, the shadow of Standard Oil looms large over the oil industry. The push for cleaner, alternative energy sources is gaining momentum, spurred by the pressing threat of climate change. The very industry that Standard Oil helped to create is now grappling with existential questions. Can it adapt and reinvent itself yet again, or will it be eclipsed by the rise of renewable energy? Regardless of the path the oil industry takes, the legacy of Standard Oil is inextricable. Its story serves as a reminder of the power of innovation, the dangers of unchecked ambition, and the enduring impact of business on society. Standard Oil's legacy lives on, shaping the oil industry as we know it. From a single man's vision to a powerful industry titan, the story of Standard Oil is one of ambition, power, and enduring influence. John D. Rockefeller's relentless drive and ruthless business tactics shaped an entire industry, but not without controversy. The rise and fall of Standard Oil, from its innovative beginnings to its eventual breakup, left a lasting legacy. As we navigate the challenges of the modern energy landscape, we must ask, what lessons can we learn from the story of Standard Oil?